Oh yeah, what's going on YouTube? TP back here. Starting a new series for you guys. It's going to be called TeeP's Truth. And just going to talk about the different parts of Call of Duty, whether it's esports or other things, the ins and outs and the positives and negatives. Basically a lot of shit I've learned over the years being a part of this community. More videos to come, but this one's going to be focused on why I've decided to step down from competitive. I announced it about a month ago and I've been doing like casting, other things like that. So going to explain what sort of led to it, right? So just some context of who I am in the community. One of the most successful players in Call of Duty esports ever. 18 major championships. Some of those, the way we proclaimed majors in years past were a little bit different. So some of those probably won't be claimed majors today, but you know, it is what it is. It's a different scene now, right? So 18-time major champ, 2014 world champ with the Complexity EG legendary lineup. People have called me, the best, one of the best OBJ players over the years, things like that. Gonna link the twit longer of my sort of official statement as to why I stepped down. It'll be in the description below. Check that out if you missed that. But yeah, let's get right into stuff. Keep things moving. So basically, this all started to happen after the downturn. I definitely had the worst go at things after the Cole EG split. And I went over and took over the Optic Nation lineup, the second team for Optic. Right away, after being on the, arguably the best team of all time, things felt a lot different very fast. Not only did I play with the most key figures in our community, I was around the same 5, 6, 7, 8 people throughout my whole time playing. I didn't really have much of a connection with the other players. And I learned very quickly as to what the differences are playing with different people. So the level of practice was lower. I'll be quite honest about it. The drive wasn't the same. It just never seemed like we were just going through the motions a lot. I never really saw a consistent improvement on things, isolating parts of our gameplay that needed help, and how to be effectively critical towards each other on those certain things. There's been so many times in the past year and a half, 2 years since the Cole EG stuff where I just don't feel like I'm getting better or my team's getting better. We hit our skill ceiling so fast. And there's a lot of things you can change in Call of Duty, and I just feel like we weren't changing them. And it's just like so repetitive, and no improvement. I need to see some sort of improvement, and I just weren't getting it. It was very disappointing. So, AW had a lot of different rosters, was on Nation, was on Envy, was on TCM at the end, and obviously it didn't go too well. Lots of 9 through 12 placings, some worse, some better mixed in. Champs was probably the big turning point in terms of my rep in the community. I don't know why people thought I became so much less of a player in the matter of a couple months. I thought I was very good at Advanced Warfare, but when people think a certain way about you, there's only so much you can do, and I wasn't getting the placings or necessarily the stats to argue against it. So very, very hard to bounce back from. And I don't know if it was from prior teammates bashing me or just overall community consensus as me as a player. I don't know what happened exactly. I can just speculate at this point. There's no really proof to prove any theories. So it was tough. It started to go down and down and down, and it's tough to get on a top lineup when your stock in the community goes down. So champs, we placed top 16. It all sort of downward spiral from there. After getting off of the Nation roster, losing roster control is very huge. If you have control of a roster, it's the ultimate power, and those are like the 1 or 2 people on each team that make roster change happens or keep the same roster. So depending on who those like major figures are on each team are the reasons why the changes happen frequently or infrequently. As soon as I lost that power, or anyone loses that power, it's tough. You bounce around a lot because people are very finicky in the Call of Duty community, and they want the quick success. From what I've noticed, they lose composure very quickly, and they want the quick fix instead of spending time really being critical of themselves. I'm not sure if players do that enough. That's something I was huge advocate of, over like making sure I'm watching my own gameplay, holding myself accountable for everything. And I really don't think a lot of players do it, unfortunately, and that's why you don't really get over a hump. You don't improve at all if you're not critical of yourself and other people in a rational way. Anyways, let's skip over that. Moving on to Black Ops 3, the Envy roster happened. Me and Pat had a pretty bad stint on TCM at the end, and then he ended up getting me picked up on Envy based on that good faith we're always going to have with each other and prior success. And that roster was going very, very well. We were at the top level of the community again. Felt like we were, back where we belonged at the top. We were doing really well, a lot of confidence, and I started to get my mojo back. I was playing really well. We were all playing really well, and I was like, all right, awesome. This is what I've needed for so long. It's sparked in me again. I was like, hell yeah. I got the competitive drive back. We're getting a lot better, I felt like. We had our issues, don't get me wrong, but still, we were tied for first at one point in the first half of Stage 1 for CWL, and then UMG South Carolina happened, and there's a lot of weird stuff that happened on that event that I'm not going to speak about, but we did bad. We got top 8, and that all of a sudden our lineup just completely lost confidence in each other, and we really just started to give up. And that's when I got that feeling again. We stopped. Our practice was awful. Our communication was awful. The drive wasn't there anymore, and I just got the flashbacks of some of these other teams I was on. It's just like, oh shit, not again. It's a really bad feeling. There has to be a balance on a team of trusting your teammates to make the best decisions, use the best weapon at a given time, and also being open enough to change your gameplay if someone's being critical of you. And if that balance goes away, that's when shit hits the fan and people lose composure and they start giving up on the roster. And it happens so frequently in Call of Duty for whatever reason. I hope it doesn't happen in other esports, but I'm sure it does. It's when a bunch of younger people start to get this level of success. It's very competitive, and they just don't. They want the quick fix, is what I'll just keep going back to. So, anyways, we did bad, lost composure, and we just were on the downward spiral going into Stage 1 playoffs. Luckily, we did so well in the first half of Stage 1 that we were okay and qualified, but we ended up getting first rounded, lost to Elevate, got top 8 again. Another top 8 finish. Very, very poor compared to how talented that lineup was. So after that, obvious roster changes were happening, and I'm not an idiot. I knew it was going to happen. And I talked a lot with Cap about what was going on. He was transparent with me. It was cool. But anyways, after, I thought something was going to happen. I thought me and Pat were going to be gone, whatever. So I go on sort of a delayed honeymoon. We go to Kauai, me and the wife. It was fucking awesome. Really, really needed it. Finally took some time for myself, which was very, very good after all the stress. And I was told that I was secure, that I wasn't going to go anywhere, things like that. So I'm like, okay, sweet. Like, I don't have to stress out. I can enjoy the vacation. Really, really good feeling to have. Sure enough, when I get back, I get dropped right away. And I'm just like, oh, well, that's not good. Because not only did I feel secure, I wasted all that time not setting up something else. And that's very important during roster change. But you got to move quick. You have to find that new clique, the new group. And I didn't have time to do it. So I was like, oh, shit, it's the shuffle. I got lost in the shuffle in a sense. But anyways, I landed on a good spot for Luminosity in Stage 2. Split from Pat again. And, the Luminosity lineup, it didn't go well. I was playing with different teammates every other week. They were unsure of who they wanted to play with. Contract issues came into play with other players. So many issues were going on. And my level of play started off really good and started to dwindle down. I wasn't getting good practice. Teammates wouldn't wake up on time. Very simple things. If you guys watch my stream over the past year and a half, you've probably seen me just be like waiting for a long time, not getting the respect I necessarily deserved from teammates that I always have given to people. And I didn't get it, and it was frustrating. And I started to become a bad teammate myself. My communication was awful. I'd watch my own VODs and just be discussing with myself. My gameplay was going down. My overall drive was just not there anymore. And it happened. I was trying to change a role. I was trying to play AR. I was trying to do whatever was possible for the team to get us out of the little rut we were in, the ditch we were in. And anyways, I ended up getting dropped. So wasn't happy with how they handled the situation. I came to terms with being dropped. That's fine. But the way it went down was very disrespectful, and I didn't like it at all, which is another topic, which I'll probably get to in another video. So I came to the realization, like, what am I doing? I'm not enjoying what I'm doing. I feel like I'm wasting time. And I just need to have some fun. I need a healthy lifestyle, and it just wasn't. I was stressing a lot. I was becoming a worse teammate, a worse player, not something I was proud of, right? And that's when I was just like, okay, I'm ready to move on. I feel like all those hours I was putting in weren't worthwhile, and I could put it to something else in the Call of Duty community to make it worthwhile. So that's why I'm casting, doing some analysis stuff, going to try and find a position in Call of Duty esports in some way to still stay involved, because I still love what we've grown together, I was one of the, founding people in the community, and I want to see it keep going. So that's why I still want to be involved. So hopefully this gives a good context as to why I've decided to step down. It wasn't a brash decision. I didn't just be like all of a sudden wake up and I was just like, this shit sucks, I'm done. A lot of things went into it. I've thought about it a lot. I stressed about it a lot, and it's brought me a lot of good times. I'm in a very fortunate situation. Just turned 24, and it was a blessing, to be able to do what I've done in the community, and one of the most successful of all time. So it's just like, being with some of the key figures, Aches, Krim, Clay, we built a lot from nothing. So it was really, really cool to be a part of. So anyways, going to be making a lot more videos like this in the future. Just talk about the truth of what I've experienced and what's going on in the scene and things like that. Might get a little bit savage. I'll try and be as nice as possible, not come off as salty. Hopefully I didn't come off as salty in this video. Just trying to lay out what happened from my perspective in a non-biased way. So hopefully it came across like that. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and more videos. Going to try and do a couple of these a week. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Peace out.